This is a picture of my from my high school graduation. The portraits we all had to take. I took off my glasses so I could take a better picture. And of course you could see why I was so popular with the girls growing up. Do-rag wisdom here, folks. And welcome to Earth Date Y2K 17.05.31. The last day of May. Because tomorrow, June is busting out all over the matter what we do. And today we're going to talk about defining deviancy down and how it relates to this headline of the Daily Screws. This is the Daily Screws. I call it the Daily Screws because it's one of the most, this paper is so hypocritical, it's laughable. And that's why anytime I pick this paper up, I get that urge. It's the greatest laxative. If you need a laxative, just take a tabloid. If you need a laxative, that's a good one. If you need a laxative, take a tabloid. Okay, it's funny to me. Well, comic Griffin, Kathy Griffin, is on the front page of the news because she had the nerve to make a nasty, nasty, nasty joke about the birther, Trump, and traitor bastard. And the Daily News is outraged. They had the longest editorial, I think, in the history of newspaper writing about why we should not vote for this creep, Trump, right? Let me put this down for a minute. And yet, when the creep was flushed into our lives and he was given the opportunity to steal Obama's Supreme Court seat, the Daily News backed him up. That newspaper backed him up. So, you know, I have my own personal hatred for the Daily News. And, you know, we'll talk about that, you know, as we go on. But the fact is, the paper demands, news says, all Americans should denounce this act. Now, folks, they have a picture of what she did. She had she's holding a plaster head, or whatever it is, a model head of the birther, Trump, traitor, bloody, eyes closed. Let me just, you know, I'm not gonna show it to you because it may be violating my terms of service here. I mean, as outraged as this paper was by the image, by what she did, they posted an image. Hey, thank you, Daily News, because I'm going to hang it up on my bulletin board along with my other anti-Trump stuff. Now, I despise, as everybody knows here, I despise the birther, traitor, Trump, okay? And, but I will not threaten physical violence. I mean, in terms of killing and bloodshed, let's see what happens when Trump starts assassinating people. Or let's see what happens if he starts to influence news outlets to fire people or to get rid of people. Let's see if he cancels the next election. Let's see how he handles this Russian investigation. I mean, I value my freedom and liberty in this country, even though it's under attack by the corporations and by that incompetent Democratic Party too, infested with corporatists. So, you know, right now, I mean, we're still at that stage where this is a civil Cold War and these Republican creeps are in charge no matter what we can do, even if we got rid of the Trump-Putin craphead. There'd still be another Republican to take his place, another Republican, because these creeps do voter suppression and gerrymandering, and they've been doing a good job at it. And the 700,000 registered voters, the 35% who support Trump, are going to go to the polls 100%. What is my point here? I won't show the picture because I would be violating the terms of service. In any event, if you do want to see the picture, by all means, go to thedailynews.com. You must have it on there. And this woman, Kathy Griffin, would be my new heroine if it wasn't for the fact that she apologized for doing that. Liberals are so guilty. This woman should not apologize. It's a joke. Okay? We have jokes. The satirists, the comedians, the humor, they have jokes. That son of a bitch, traitor, Trump, Putin, bastard, mother effer, he has the nuclear codes that could launch the end of the world. And he's infested with Russia, and he's a traitor, and because he's a creep, and because he has advocated violence against protesters, because he's an obnoxious thug slob, anytime he does something good or normal or near normal, the press goes, oh yes, no, he's so great. And if a liberal like this, right, does something really beyond, that's a classic picture. Thank you, Kathy. And thank you, Daily News, for printing it, you stupid morons. Liberals are just too apologetic. What the hell is she apologizing about? She doesn't have the nuclear codes. So, I'm not going to, as they say here, define deviancy down. We have a creep in our life now. We don't have a president. We have a psychopathic, narcissistic, traitor bastard inside of our Oval Office, which he has turned into an awful, awful OFFAL office. A turd that represents every evil force that we have in our world. And I always say he got there on a fluke because 50% of us did not vote. I remember Ted Nugent saying that he was going to go out and if Obama gets reelected, he's going to end up in jail. Sarah Palin, as this newspaper in its editorial rightly said, against, of course, this woman, that Sarah Palin made some kind of remarks. And Glenn Beck put a target on President Obama's face. The creep while he was running encouraged violence against people who disagree with him. I'll never forget the black man who was elbowed in the face by that cracker mother effer at the behest of Trump, who said, I will pay for your legal fees. Get him out! Get him out! Get him out! And I'll never forget that black woman, protester, at one of that creep's events, was surrounded by these white assholes. And see the skin? It's as pale as the newborn sun. So I'm allowed to say that. And she was surrounded and shoved and pushed at the behest of that bastard. This is not what the President of the United States is supposed to be doing. And if he doesn't like the sour-ass humor against him, and if the liberals can't stand up against him, we can't define deviancy down. if this was a normal president, a president who behaved like a human being instead of like a thug, like a naked ape, shoving his way all over Europe, what a slob! What an effing slob! That's my phone. If he hadn't told his acolytes to beat up on protesters, and let me tell you folks, these 700,000 people who fanatically support Trump in this country, they will beat up on you. And they will do damage to you. Because they are consistent in their hatred for us. So Daily News, she should have never apologized. This is not a normal presidency. We have an enemy inside the Oval Office. And yes, no one should ever threaten the life of anybody. But her showing his head like that, hey, that's like Ted Nugent from the left, or Sarah Palin from the left, or Glenn Beck from the left. And once again, as Bill Maher says, we need a serial killer against a serial killer. We need a big mouth progressive to stand up to this big mouth phony traitor Trump. Humorists have the humor. He has the weapons. I don't advocate violence against anybody. I advocate freedom, liberty, humanity in a country that is supposed to be dedicated to freedom and justice for all. And not just the traitor Trump and his rich, oligarchic, crooked, fascist, religious extremist friends. We can dish it out too. You should have not apologized, Kathy. You don't have the nuclear codes. You just have heartfelt and deep-seated angry humor against this attack on our country.